Hey guys, what's growing? It's Heather at Bush Poppy Farm. Today we're starting to plant our tomatoes. So I'm not going to do all my tomatoes today. Number one, I don't have time because I've got some other projects going on that you'll see coming up. But also I don't have all the bed space I need to get all the tomatoes in the ground. But I do have this section right here. And so this year, for the first time, I'm gonna jump on the Florida Weave bandwagon and try this method. It's pretty simple. I like to prune my tomatoes, so it works out really well with this method. And so we're gonna give it a go. So what I have here, it's really funny actually, all those tomatoes that I started, I ended up, last night at dinner, Aiden said, I want to make ketchup this year. Are you growing paste tomatoes? And I said, yeah, I got plenty of them. Then I realized when I went to the greenhouse to look, I actually sold all my paste tomatoes. So today, when I was at the nursery buying stuff for a different project, I got a bunch of paste tomatoes. So I have 4 Amish paste and 4 Romas, and we're going to put those in this section of the bed for Florida Weave. Now, not much has been growing here. There was stock here and it didn't do well. So all I'm gonna do is a little bit of amending. I'm gonna put some starter fertilizer in this row and I'm gonna put a little layer of compost on top of that, and then we're gonna plant the tomatoes. And when you're planting tomatoes, any kind of tomato, you wanna plant them really deep. You can even do the trench method and plant them on their side like this. Yes, on their side. Looks funny, but by the next day, the top of the plant will be straight up and down. And what that does is it gives you a lot stronger root system, because these stems on tomato plants will form roots off the whole stem. So the deeper you plant it, the more roots you're gonna have, the more stable your tomato plant is gonna be. So with the Florida Weave, it's really just taking a string on these. I've got 3 T-posts here, and we'll start at one end and then we just weave it around the plants. And then we do another line coming back the other way so that the stem is between 2 pieces of string or twine. So let's get started. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is sprinkle some starter fertilizer down the middle here. This is a 3-foot wide bed, but obviously I'm only planting down the center. So what I'm going to do is I will put marigolds, alyssum, and nasturtium down the sides. It'll be pretty, but they'll also act as great trap crops for any pests. All right, so that's our starter fertilizer. Now I'm just gonna get I'm not putting a whole ton of compost, just enough. And when I go to plant the alyssum and stuff, I will have, I'll put more compost on the side panels. All right, on these 2 edges. Okay, so now what we need to do is just pop these in the ground. I'm gonna put all the Romas together. I think the Romas are the big ones, yep. I'm spacing these about 1 foot apart. I tend to grow intensively, so I tend to put a lot of plants pretty close together, and I've never really had an issue with that. They tend to still do really well as long as they get enough water and enough fertilizer. All right, so I still have space here that I can put another couple of tomatoes. So let's just get these guys potted up. And again, I'm planting them deep. I'm gonna leave the tags. I'm notorious for not tagging things and then wondering what I planted later on. Okay, so our next step is to set up the first row of the weave. And you'll continue to do this throughout the season as the plants grow. So I'm going to tie this end to this T-post. And you can use any kind of twine. This is a cotton twine. And probably as the season goes on, as these guys get bigger, I'll use a different material, a hemp one, because it'll last longer. All right, so I'm going behind this, in front of this one. Behind this one, in front of this one. Behind this one, which kind of doesn't matter because it's too short. And then I'm going to actually go around this pole so that it's taut, nice and tight. Go around it twice. All right. And then start over. Behind this one. Now these are too short. So as the season goes on, I'll have to weave them in correctly. But then what we're going to do is come back here, wrap it twice, nice and tight. And then you'll go back the way you came. And in this case, I would be going in and out, but they're too short at this point. Okay, so here, this will go in front of this one, behind this one, in front of this one, behind this one, in front of this one, and then wrapped. So what that does is like I said, it traps the stem in between the twine, provides a really nice structure for the tomatoes, keeps everything nice and sturdy, and provides all the support that the tomatoes need. So that's literally all there is to it. I'm going to check on these over the next couple days, make sure that they're, not getting pinched weird anyway, but this twine is pretty tight. And then as they grow, when they need another line of support, I'll put another line of support in. These guys down here, I will start weaving in once they get tall enough. Right now, they're only about 2 inches tall because I buried them deep. So that'll only be a couple days because we're going to have some warm weather. And then those guys will get their support and we'll be good to go. So that is the first method. I also use tomato trellises, cages, and I would love at some point to try the cordon method, which is where you have a bar across the top or something high, and you pull down strings, you attach them into the ground, and you weave the tomato up that cordon. Again, these all require you to keep them kind of trimmed. I like to pull off the suckers, not everybody does. And I'll show you what that means when they get a little bit bigger. But I like to encourage the plant to put most of its energy into fruiting as opposed to more vegetative growth. And by removing the suckers, you can do that. So when we get some more space in the garden, we'll continue this row. Actually, I'm going to see if I have some zucchini squash planted down here that really suffered in the last cold snap that we had. So I don't know if they're going to survive. If they don't, I'm just going to continue the tomato down all the way to the peas, which is good because I have a lot of tomatoes to plant. And pretty soon, some of these flowers that are around me, like this agrostemma, will almost all get harvested tomorrow. And then this patch will be open, which I think is going to be corn. So that's pretty much it for using the Florida Weave on tomatoes. Let me know if you use the Florida Weave or if you're going to give it a try this year. And also, what type of tomatoes are you growing? I like to grow big, indeterminate varieties that keep on growing. Haven't really done much with the determinate ones that stay small. Let me know what you're growing. I'd love to hear about it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great time in your garden, and I'll see you next time. Bye.